You're listening to the Powerhouse Effect. I'm Amy Gregory, one of eXp Realty's top recruiters and the founder of Powerhouse, a national organization of over 800 agents built specifically for the female solo agent who is done leaving money on the table. Every episode, you're going to hear from a real woman, a real agent who made the leap and never looked back. Today's guest went from 6 million to 16 million in production without working more hours, without sacrificing her life, and without doing it alone. Today we have Morgan Millang, and here is her story. Morgan, welcome. I'm so excited to have you with us today. First of all, tell everyone where you're located and what your business was like before being a part of Powerhouse.
Hi, I am located in Davis, California, which is actually just a suburb of Sacramento, California. And before Powerhouse, I felt like I was chasing deals. And now, since being in Powerhouse and being surrounded by the right team and people, my business kind of just free flows. And I'm actually having more fun selling real estate than I did like 5 or 6 years ago. So it's made a world of a difference.
Well, I feel like that's a funny thing that you bring up is like having more fun because I think that's something we talk about a lot in Powerhouse is like, well, what if it was fun? What if I was actually enjoying it? And that probably sounds silly, but honestly, if you're having fun, I feel like you end up doing more work and you end up doing better work because you're having fun. So, what is the fun part about Powerhouse?
The strategies that I've learned of how to have like a better relationship with clients and give clients a better experience, I feel like has made it more fun for me. I'm so the person that's like into gift giving, the presentation of the gifts need to be nice, like all of that kind of stuff that I was trying to do before. And I did a little bit of it before, but since being in Powerhouse, it's been like multitude of ideas of how to actually do it better and host events that I love throwing and have so much fun throwing. And so I feel like it's just been a switch of like leveling up the client experience to where I'm actually having more fun just doing that.
Well, and I think when we level up the client experience, you end up bringing in clients that are more fun to work with. Right.
Yeah.
And really like your clientele really impacts your business, whether or not you're enjoying your business. Like not all clients are created equal. And we focus a lot, I feel like we do talk about this a lot in Powerhouse, is we don't want to say yes to every deal. If the client is not a good fit, it's probably not a deal to say yes to. Have you actually, I don't even know the answer to this. Have you ever like turned down a transaction or turned down a deal?
Yeah, I turned down a buyer because after about 5 or 6 showings, they were just making comments that I was like, I don't really feel like this is going to be morally like how I want to work,
Yeah.
and just didn't seem like they were going to be the best fit. So I did like fire a buyer, and I did turn away a listing where they just were a little bit unreasonable, and I would rather give my time to the clients that know me, like me, trust me, and I have a good relationship with them anyway. So I ended up saying no to that so that I can say yes to other things. And we do talk about this. I feel like saying no to some things opens up doors to things that you actually want to say yes to.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so you went from 6 million in production to 16 million in production in about 2 or 3 years. And like what was the big shift? Like that's a $10 million jump, which is a lot. And are you feeling burned out? What was the big shift?
So, I'll start with the burnout question because I actually have just had a friend ask me if I'm going to be burned out because she can see me on social media and I'm like nonstop. And I think it kind of goes back to the fun thing. I am not burned out and I don't really see myself getting burnt out because every time I do something to level up my business, I just feel like it's a mindset shift too, to where I am just having so much fun with it that I don't know if I'm gonna get burned out. We'll see. But I did not get burned out shifting from 6 million to 16 million. So jumping 10 million in production. Never felt burnout. There was 1 month where I closed a lot of transactions and I felt a little overwhelmed and overstimulated. But then I would hop into a powerhouse meeting, put in, the chat, what I was dealing with, and get like 10 ideas from 10 agents that are doing more than what I was doing that month and
Mhm.
saying, this is how you delegate and you need to hire this and do this. So that was helpful. So the burnout thing, I don't know. I think it just goes back to me having fun with it. The biggest shift, I think, from 6 million to 16 million was mindset And Amy, a lot of it comes from you. Like in our Powerhouse meetings, we talk about mindset. We talk about what if it was fun, what if it was easy. Um, and I think just those small shifts of just hearing agents that are, doing more than me in a month
Mhm.
and being like, okay, if they can do it, they can help me and show me how to do it, then I can do it. I can take it on. And the other thing it'd be mindset through the meetings and then also strategies. When we hop on and just chat with agents and somebody says, here's what I posted on TikTok and here's how I did on Instagram and here's what captured, these leads. I then turn around and implement. Like I'm very much an implementer. So being able to be in a room where there's just so many ideas to like pull from and see
Mhm.
which ideas like I aligned with was night and day for my business because I took some of those social media things and was like, okay, I can do this, but I'll implement it for Sacramento and Davis.
Yeah.
And it worked.
So what are some of the things that like you implemented quickly? Because I will say this, inside of Powerhouse, the agents that grow the fastest are the ones that implement the quickest, right? And so inside of Powerhouse, we talk about like iterating on ideas a lot. And so one agent might have one idea and then it kind of gets served up to the group. And I think it could go through 5 or 8 iterations within a 10 or 12 minute kind of conversation. But then what I find interesting is then agents take that idea to their own market, to their own business. And so it kind of becomes, well, this is Morgan's iteration of Stephanie's idea. And we see that a lot inside of Powerhouse. And so is there like a specific strategy or iteration that you could share that was like, okay, this was a big deal. This shifted a lot inside my business?
Yeah, so I don't remember which Powerhouse meeting or when it was. It was probably a couple of years ago. But we talked about getting our clients to share us on social media, which is kind of a
Mhm.
hard thing because when we post a video of a reel of like a house, yeah, you can like text a couple people and say, hey, like share this with your community or on your
Yeah.
Instagram stories. But getting somebody to like rave about you on their social media, I think was like a big switch for me. I worked with my sponsor, who's also at Powerhouse,
Mhm.
Jessica, and we talked about closing gifts and what we could do to make them unique. And took it to our meeting and on Zoom and everything, and ended up just like everyone just started fleshing out the idea. And then I took, like you said, like my version of it, and I started just doing like custom cakes. And I would deliver the cake on closing day, and it would be customized to the client. I worked with a local baker, so she was sharing it on her story. I'm sharing it on mine, and then my clients are exploding it on their stories and raving about the closing gift. So that was one thing that I've
Okay.
literally gotten business from.
I remember talking about this thing of like how to get your clients to like organically post about you. And I do remember it being about closing gifts. I had no idea that you had like iterated it into custom cakes. So now like the local bakery is sharing it and tagging you. And then the client receives this cake that they're not really expecting and it's customized. So they naturally are taking a picture of it, posting it on their stories and tagging you.
And I had my families, like my buyer families, literally take pictures of their kids just diving into the cake. And it was this like whole fun thing. And so it became this like, it just kind of became almost a trademark. I
Yeah.
Last summer it was so hard to do because I would drive like 30 minutes to my buyer's house and the cake would literally melt in my car. So I had
Oh
to make
my
a
gosh.
little bit of a shift but
Yeah.
with it. But I mean, my clients kind of know I like desserts, I like sweet treats and stuff. And
Yeah.
so there's just a little bit of like, okay, what can we give that they would be excited to share about or post about and tag me and say, oh my gosh, like best realtor, like look at this. And so
Yeah.
closing gifts are just one of those ways. And I know we fleshed out a ton of ideas. One of them, I think, was like a movie screen night where we like
Mhm.
got the blow up screen projector and everything.
Mhm.
I've done that before. My clients have loved that. So
I
just
love
different
that.
ways to kind of flesh out an idea and get people to share organically because you don't want
Right?
it to feel forced. It never wants to feel forced.
Yeah, absolutely. So like how did you even stumble upon Powerhouse? Like how did you find it? How did you find Powerhouse and like what were you thinking like, yeah, I'm ready to make the move?
So Jessica Lopez is my
Mhm.
sponsor, and
Mhm.
I connected with her on Instagram. We actually bonded over a medical thing. So I was born with cleft-lip, and her son was born with cleft-lip.
Oh
So we
yeah.
started DMing back and forth about just like personal stuff.
Mhm.
And then I just inquired one day. I was like, "Okay, I see you posting about Powerhouse. What is this?" And she's like,
Mhm.
well, let's just hop on a call and I'll chat with you about it. And I got off that call and I was like, that was the most information of a brokerage that I've gotten in like the span of 15 minutes.
Mhm.
And I was like, her like personality and how she runs her business is something I like achieve or strive to achieve.
Mhm.
And so ended up she invited me to Powerhouse Try On. I did Powerhouse Try On for a month and I had this moment where I was at my old brokerage's meeting and then I left there and raced to my computer to get on Try On. And I learned a ton of different things in that one try on meeting. And it was all about how to hire an agent. And
Mhm.
you broke down the steps from how to create the PDF, how to answer questions, how to just give value to
Mhm.
the people that are hiring an agent.
Mhm.
And I took it and implemented it that week. I got 4 leads off social media from it.
You did?
I got
I
four
didn't
leads.
know that.
Yeah, I closed 3 of them within like a span of 3 months. And I ended up calling Jessica after try on and I was like, okay, I need to be in this room because this is the room where I think I'm gonna grow on social
Yeah.
media and clientele and stuff. And so she was like, okay, let's chat a little bit more about it. And we talked logistics. I was in contract on a couple things and
Mhm.
it just logistically we had to like iron it out a little bit, but honestly,
Yeah.
like not too difficult to do and so worth it.
I love that. Okay, so we need to bring the how to hire an agent training back because
Yeah,
like I didn't know that you had literally closed 3 deals from that. But
yeah.
how to hire a realtor is a highly searched Google phrase. And so we have this whole thing that we do inside of social media because Instagram is a search engine. And that's so funny because it was probably a couple of years ago, but I still use it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still
I
use
just
it
had
inside my
somebody
business.
download it.
Yeah. And so that's awesome. Actually, I'm going to bring that back into Powerhouse now that you say that. We're going to like run that back. What was the first thing that like changed in your business? I feel like you are really good at referrals. And like, what are your referral numbers
Yeah.
inside of Powerhouse?
Yeah. So the one thing that really changed was referrals, like to and from, whether
Mm-hmm.
I sent them outgoing or they came to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved my license in 2023, end of 2023. It was like September, October, November of
Mm-hmm.
2023. 2024, I made $22,000 in commissions just from referrals to an agent from an agent. And to me, that was huge.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
yeah, definitely like the biggest thing. So, I basically in 2024 was like, how am I going to network with agents across the United States to tell them like, hey, I'm a realtor in Sacramento. I can help you
Mm-hmm.
in this area. And I remember one of our Powerhouse meetings, we did brainstorm and like flush that out and
Mm-hmm.
just talking about it on stories, talking to people about moving out of the area, that kind of thing. So I implemented that, but it wasn't like a huge focus. And then at the end of every year, I run my numbers and I just see like where I made income and how I got the leads. Was it social media? Was it referrals? Where was it? And so after that year, I was like, okay, if I made $22,000 of just referrals, and a few of
Mm-hmm.
those I didn't really have to do anything, I just referred the
Yeah.
client to the agent. How am I going to make this kind of part of my business? So I started talking about it on social media and posting about it. I email my whole database about needing an agent in another area and connecting. And
Mm-hmm.
2025 was my biggest referral year. $88,000 was the
Oh.
commission I made to and from agents. A lot of them were coming to me,
Mm-hmm.
but quite a few were, sending
Referraled
out
out.
referrals. And
We
so that
love we
was
love
a
an
huge win.
outgoing referral. We
Yeah.
love an outgoing referral arm. Like honestly, it's a great hourly rate. And sometimes I think agents don't look at their business like a business and you want to say, "Hey, what's your hourly rate inside of transactions? What's your hourly rate inside of referrals? And how can you like build each of those strategically inside your business?" And we do talk about that a lot inside of Powerhouse. What's one thing you get from Powerhouse that you couldn't really get anywhere else?
The nationwide connections. I think the referral
Yeah.
sources, like some, like you could be at a big name,
Firm.
commercial brokerage and firm, but are like, I don't know. I just feel like the tapping into it wasn't as realistic as Powerhouse is. Like we're on a Zoom call on Tuesdays, all of us across the nation, and then
Mhm.
Elite call on Thursdays. Elite, we're high level production, so we're talking about high level things.
Mhm.
And I just love just the networking and the communication and chatting with people. And a few of my favorite people in Powerhouse have like referred me business. I've referred them business. And it's just like a really good relationship thing. So I think the relationships are just stronger in Powerhouse. I also
Well,
think
yeah, I
the
was gonna
system
say,
helps.
I don't even feel like it's like you couldn't even call it networking because like we genuinely know each other. Like we know our people's kids' names. Like we know, like we genuinely know each other. It's not just like, oh, I randomly like I'm aware of an agent in Alabama. Do you know what I mean? Like you're like, oh no, no,
Yeah.
no. Like I actually know and all the details. So it feels a little bit it's a way deeper connection than I think people realize. And that's one of the things with Powerhouse you can't really put on a stat sheet. It's like this intangible thing where you're like, no, no, no. Like we know when people are getting married or having babies or moving or like each other. We genuinely know those things. Um, what surprised you the most about being a part of Powerhouse?
I was really nervous to say that EXP was my brokerage. That is not a common brokerage in this area, and nor
Yeah,
did it have a good reputation.
yeah.
That was the biggest, I guess,
Hurdle.
like hurdle was just getting over that and just worrying about me. My clients know me, they want to work with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, in the last 3 years, EXP in our area has grown and is now a better
Mm-hmm.
name, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been like the biggest, I guess, surprise of like, okay, just
Mm-hmm.
move forward and just kind of,
Well,
I don't
your
know.
clients don't even know what brokerage you're at, actually. Like
No,
they're
I think
hiring
it's
you. But
agent
I think
thing.
sometimes we think they do because we're so aware of it as agents, but the clients are not nearly as aware of it.
No, and they don't care and they don't know and they
Yeah.
just want to work with you for who you are. So that was the biggest change for me is like, okay, mindset shift, like don't worry about EXP. And then now I'm so on board with EXP that I'm like, how did I ever worry about being like, the only one in this
Mhm.
town with this
Yeah.
brokerage behind me? Like, why did I ever worry about this? This is the best brokerage ever.
Yeah. 100%. So if you were like talking to a female solo agent like Morgan from 2022, what would you tell her?
Oh, move your license right now. Move immediately because not only will you save money financially on cap and split and all those things, like the people, it's like you said, it's so hard to explain because the relationships I have and the friendships that I've had and just the people in Powerhouse are so similar to me and run so perfect of business and not even perfect, but just like ideal businesses that I like look up to. Like that has shifted everything for me. Like how I, think about real estate, how and I'm
Mhm.
investing in my first investment property. We close in a month. And that I don't know that that would have happened had I stayed where I
Mhm.
was, 5 years ago. And just the exploring of, there's bigger and better things and you can do more. Like you can. You just have to figure it out.
Put
Um,
yourself in the right room, 100%.
Yes. So the
Yeah.
room itself is just like, it's hard to explain because I feel like you don't really understand it until you're actually in it. I didn't really
Yeah.
understand it. I was like, okay, yeah, sounds good. Like, I really like Jessica and
Yeah.
I follow Amy and I'm
Mhm.
good. Like, this will be fun. And then I get in there and now I have friends in every state almost. And
Mhm.
it's like, I don't know, it's this environment that just like uplifts your life and your business. And it's just hard to explain, but really, really cool.
Yeah, it's the best. Morgan, thank you so much for joining us today. If her story sounds familiar, it's probably because it is. This is what happens inside of Powerhouse. If you're a solo female agent doing 3 to 6 million in production and you've been wondering if there's a better way to build, there is. Come find out what the Powerhouse effect feels like for you. You can have all the notes are down in the show notes. So click the link there. And if this episode hit home, share it with one agent who needs to hear it. That's how we grow this community. I'm Amy Gregory, and I will see you next week.